Hi everyone, welcome. Alessandro here. I am a Qigong practitioner working with health and energy. And every so often I have guests, inspiring guests on. Today I've got Claire Willsher, Dr. Me. So Claire, welcome today. And I just wanted to ask you, firstly, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to this journey of health and healing and helping other people with their health and energy.
Well, thank you for introducing me, and thank you very much for having me on today, Alessandro. It really means a lot to me. So a little bit of background behind who I am. So I'm Claire Willsher from Dr. Me, as you've said, and I'm a health coach. It hasn't always been this way, though. I have always had a real passion for anything health and sport related. Did a sports science degree at university and became a PE teacher with the idea of inspiring lots of children to move and exercise. But I fell in love with a man who was in the military, and we ended up moving house every couple of years. So it became quite tiresome, just building up rapport with people in one school, getting to know the children and the regimes and the teachers, and then upping and moving on again every 2 years. So a couple of years ago, after doing a health week in a school in Kent, I decided to package up what I had done in this health week and create a business. And the way I did that was I looked at all the different elements of what I'd included in the health week and put it into different categories. And I came up with 4, and that's where the basis of Dr. Me comes from. So I think health is really important when we focus on our diet, which is the D, resilience, which is the R, mindset, which is the M, and exercise, which is the E. And I fully believe that actually, if we focus our attention on all of those 4 areas of health, not only do we see results quicker within ourselves, but actually the results are much longer lasting as well. So people benefit from this twofold approach. Unfortunately, though, I've not always been a pillar of health. I have always loved participating in sport and exercise and eating well and things like that. But when I was at university, I suffered from chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME, as it's often known as well. And this left me really quite debilitated. I'd gone from being a high-level hockey player, studying sports science, all of a sudden living in what felt like a shell of a body. And it left me sort of crawling up the stairs to bed because I didn't have the energy to walk. So I know what it feels like not to have any energy, but on the flip side of that, I know what it feels like to have a body that I can celebrate and move and just helps me enjoy life.
Great, love it. And so this comes from your own challenges in life. And I think in this past year, we've all been really challenged with our well-being. And I think all the areas you mentioned. So are there maybe some tips you can give people? Obviously, you've been helping people online, I imagine, in the past year or so, and I know you're building up your business very nicely. Are there some things that you can, some tips you can give people, simple things that they can either be aware of or integrate into their life easily enough?
Certainly, I could speak all day about tips and hints, but there are a few things that have really sort of stood out during lockdown. I think people have found it particularly hard within lockdown because our normal life and our regimes have changed substantially. But my first tip is just to get outside every day. And if you can get outside and move your body, that's even better. So we are allowed out once a day for exercise. Now, that can take many different forms. I'm jolly lucky, and at the moment I live on the Richmond Park doorstep. It's just down the road, and I'm up there nearly every day, and I see people running, I see people walking, I see people inline skating. I've even seen people doing sort of cross-country skiing. It's really incredible what people do. So what I'm trying to say is exercise doesn't always have to be something where you put on lycra and it's a specified event. Even just getting out and doing a few laps of the garden or doing some gardening, your body doesn't know whether you're working out in a gym or whether you're working out digging soil. There's no difference. We still get the same benefits, but doing movement and exercise outside, you get the added benefits of the fresh air, of the being close to nature, of seeing wildlife, getting the vitamin D. So my first tip would be to get outside and move your body.
Mm-hmm.
The second tip I would suggest is have daily connections with people. Loneliness is as bad for our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And quite often we don't recognize that we're lonely until it's too late. Obviously, lockdown has made us or enforced us, or quite a few people, to be more lonely, which is really quite a sad and sorry state of affairs. And we were talking about this before we went live. Now, my suggestion is to have a daily connection with people. And that might be a conversation from your balcony to your neighbour's balcony of an evening. It might be a phone call to your mum or your dad or your son or your daughter, or it might be just a Zoom or a Skype call to somebody even in a different country. It doesn't matter, but just have a conversation, and not a work related one. It doesn't count if you're chatting to your colleague about the income for your business that year or that week. It's got to be something social, and by doing that, it releases lovely hormones into our system that just make you feel a bit like you're getting a big hug wrapped around you. So my second piece of advice would be to have daily connections with people. The third piece of advice is to be mindful about what you eat. So our body is fueled by what we put in it, and essentially the food that we give it. And lots of people's eating habits have changed substantially from going into lockdown. And we're beginning to see the effects of that. Being surrounded by food, being bored, being stressed, all these things can drive people to eat more, or sometimes eat more of the things that don't fuel our bodies in quite such a good way. So my recommendation to people is to eat the rainbow. I'm not talking about going and buying a packet of Skittles here. I'm talking about eating fresh food and vegetables, plant-based food, that's fruit, nuts and seeds, legumes, beans and things like that. So we are getting the goodness into our digestive system. And by doing that, we're increasing our immune system, so we're able to fight off illnesses better. It provides us with more energy, and it just helps keep everything regular. Lots of other systems that work within us. So things like releasing happy hormones within us really helps if we're eating good food. In fact, there's a lot of information, lots of scientific research to show that what we eat really does impact how we feel. If you've got a plate of beige food put in front of you, it doesn't excite you quite so much as if you've got a plate of food that's got vibrant colors, oranges, yellows, greens, purples, lots of different colors within it. So it really does matter how we are fueling our body. So my third piece of advice to people would be really try and eat the rainbow.
Great tips. Yeah, I mean, I get a box delivered every week of fruit and veg, and when I open it, the colors, the vibrant colors of tomatoes and carrots and the greens. I just looking at them, I know that these are all going to soon go into a kind of soup. I know they're a bit boring, but they're very healthy. My soups, my daughter hates them, but but I know they're healthy and vibrant, and not to overcook the food. But I think what you say about colors is makes a lot of sense, and the body, recognizes it and feels it for sure. So I think those are great tips. Movement, nutrition, and staying connected to people. So I love those. So thank you. And finally, if you have. We're going to put your links below how people can connect with you, but do you have a kind of program that you take people through, and just tell us a little bit about what you offer yourself to the public?
Great. So I work either one-on-one with individuals who have a health-related problem, or I do group workshops as well. So if I talk a bit about the one-on-one work first, basically we talk like you and I are talking here, and it's either a 1 month, a 3 month, or a 6 month program. And what we do is we look at how people are living their lives currently and how they would like to be living their lives. And we look at how we can get from where they are now to where they would like to be in relation to their health. And quite often things are very interrelated, which is why I use the Dr. Me model. We look at what people are eating. We look at how people are sleeping. We look at their mindset and how they talk to themselves and how they view the world and what their self-esteem is like. like. And then we also look at how they're moving their bodies. And by looking at all these areas, we get to the real root cause of what's causing ill health, or just tiredness, sluggishness, stress. Some people put on weight, and why they are doing that. It's often not the actual weight they're putting on. It's not the packets of biscuits that people are eating. It's the root cause of why they are eating those biscuits. And that might be due to stress, or it might be due to the fact they've just lost their job, or they're lonely, or they're depressed. And we look at why those are the reasons. And by working one-on-one with me, we can really get deep. We can turn that around, and we can put different sort of health strategies and healthy habits in place to make sure that people get more out of life, leaving them more energized. And if they're healthier, they're generally happier. If they're happier, they have better relationships, they enjoy their work more, they're more productive, they can earn more money. And health has just got this amazing knock-on effect to all areas of their lives. Now, obviously, working one-on-one is quite an expensive option. So the other thing that I do is I do mini courses, which are pre-recorded courses that look at diet, resilience, mindset, and exercise. And I give people a general overview of that. What I'm currently working on doing, because that's not particularly personal, that's an introductory thing to get people to know me, I'm looking at building a group workshop, a group coaching workshop, where I can work with a group of people at the same time, and we can sort of G each other on, and we can help people and pair people up and get people sharing their experiences of what works and what doesn't. And that is going to be released in the spring, summer, and I'm very excited about that. For being on here, I will just pop in that I'm doing an energy transformation or an energy overview for any people that are listening and would like to have a complimentary half-hour chat with me, where there's absolutely no obligation. Basically, we jump on Zoom and we look at various areas of your life where you're not getting the energy that you would love to be getting, because our bodies should work really optimally for us. They should be, we should be excited to bounce out of bed every morning, but quite often we just roll out grunting, go, oh, it's another day. So I'm going to give complimentary sessions to any listeners that takes their fancy, and I'll put a link into that just for the month of March. So jump on quickly if that is something that would interest you.
Great. And will that be like a calendar link? People can book in with you directly?
Absolutely. Yeah, it will be a Calendly link. Yeah.
So I'll put that on the notes below. We'll put your website in and what you offer at the moment. And I think this group idea you have for the future is a great thing, because even, when the COVID situation improves, it feels like the world of work and communication has changed forever. And I think a lot more people actually are even happier and can benefit quite a lot from, being at home and being in a group that's online rather than having to travel across the country. So there, this is one of the positives, if we can see it that way, of the COVID situation, that it's changing the way we work and connect. And some things are obviously good about it, and some things a bit more challenging, as you mentioned earlier, when we're not truly connected and seeing people on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, there's a quote that I love, and it goes like this. It's, bees were born to live in a hive and humans were born to live in a tribe, which is completely true. Our cavemen ancestors lived in this tribe, and if they weren't in the tribe, then they wouldn't have survived. So we are born to be creatures of connection, and I think that is deeply important. But saying that, the ability for Zoom allows us to connect with people all around the world, and that in itself is really exciting as well. So it's a double-edged sword, but I think this sort of online thing is a really good step forward for a lot of people.
Great. So I hope lots of people join the Dr. Me tribe.
Oh, so do I.
And I always love the way, you're on LinkedIn, you're on various social media, Instagram, and you're always so enthusiastic and cheerful. And that's such a great gift to give people, just to be there as a support. So I really appreciate you coming on today, explaining all of this. And I'm sure lots of people will be in touch now and in the near future.
Thank you very much for having me. As always, lovely to have a chat, Alessandro.
Thanks a lot, Claire.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.